Why don't you like Tiger Woods?
Obviously, you can't like everybody. I think that there's people that you connect with and there's people that you don't. And, it's pretty much as simple as that.
I am James, and this is Golf Relived. He's a racist. That phrase hits different in golf because the sport sells itself as polite and proper. Gentlemen in pressed slacks. Quiet applause. But here is the truth. The biggest racist question is tricky because harm comes in two forms: long-term rules that block people from competing, and public slurs that spread worldwide and reinforce stereotypes. So who caused the most damage? The guy who said it on camera? The guy who joked it at dinner? Or the place that built it into the rules for 50 years? The caddy community sees everything. They hear the comments. They watch the mood shift. They feel the fallout. What they witnessed over the decades reveals a spectrum of racism that golf tried to hide, from locker room hostility to broadcast booths to policies written into the rulebook. This is not about ranking pain. This is about understanding how deep it goes. If you are enjoying this deep dive, give this video some hype using the hype feature below. It helps us bring you more stories that matter. Now, let's count down the 5 names that caddies say caused the most harm to the sport. Number 5. Clifford Roberts and Augusta National, the place that wrote racism into the rules. For nearly 50 years, golf's most famous and prestigious venue operated under a formalized system of racial segregation. At the center of it all was Augusta National co-founder and longtime chairman Clifford Roberts. He made the hierarchy crystal clear. As long as he remained alive, all tournament golfers would be white, and all caddies would be black. That was not a guideline, not a preference, not a suggestion made quietly behind closed doors. That was the official rule, a mandate enforced with absolute authority, and it was applied without a single exception for decades. Black players were completely banned from competing in the Masters tournament until Lee Elder finally received an invitation in 1975. That was almost 30 years after Jackie Robinson broke baseball's color barrier. But even after Elder's historic appearance, the policy requiring all tournament players to use exclusively local black caddies stayed in force until 1983. Think about what that means. An entire generation of supremely talented black golfers was locked out of the most important tournament in the sport. Not because they lacked skill, not because they failed to qualify, but purely because of the color of their skin. The opportunities stolen. The prize money never earned. The careers that never reached their potential. That is what institutional racism looks like in practice. The black caddy corps at Augusta lived this discrimination every single day. They were not reading about it in newspapers. They were experiencing it firsthand. Jim Dent was one of them. As a black teenager during the 1950s, he worked in the caddy ranks at Augusta National. He carried bags for the biggest names in golf. Legends like Arnold Palmer trusted him with their equipment during practice rounds and tournament play. But Jim Dent himself could never play that course. He was strictly forbidden. He could walk every inch of those fairways with someone else's clubs. He could read every break on those greens. He could study every bunker and hazard, but he could not tee up a ball and play a single hole. Dent later confirmed that racism and discrimination were constant realities at the venue. He experienced it. He witnessed it. He lived it. But he maintained a pragmatic resilience that is almost impossible to comprehend. He did not allow the hostility and degradation to completely disrupt his focus. That kind of strength and determination in the face of systematic oppression is something most people will never have to summon, and most will never truly understand. The resistance to Augusta's policies came from prominent players, too. Lee Trevino won 6 major championships during his career. He was one of the most talented and entertaining golfers of his generation. But during his absolute prime years, Trevino boycotted the Masters completely. He refused to set foot inside the Augusta clubhouse. He turned down invitations. He walked away from one of the 4 biggest tournaments in golf. Why would someone sacrifice that opportunity? Because of how the club treated people who looked like him. Because of the blatant discrimination he saw directed at black golfers and black caddies. And because of how Augusta treated his own team. Trevino's caddy was forced to use a service entrance at the back of the building, not the main doors that white competitors and their caddies walked through without a second thought. A service entrance, like he was delivering groceries. That kind of systematic degradation was not an accident. It was not an unfortunate oversight by someone who did not know better. It was official policy, deliberately designed consciously enforced. Roberts and Augusta created an entire system where racial roles were legally defined and culturally reinforced. It took decades to dismantle even the most visible parts of that system, and the psychological and economic scars are still visible today if you know where to look. Here's the thing about institutional racism that makes it so uniquely harmful. One person with a microphone steals dignity with words. Another steals respect with a cruel joke. But institutions like Augusta stole entire careers with rules. They made racism structural. They built it into the framework. And structural racism does not disappear with a single apology or policy change. It leaves a legacy that lasts for generations. It shapes who gets opportunities and who does not. It determines who builds wealth and who stays locked out. Roberts did not just hurt individual feelings. He blocked an entire class of people from competing on equal footing in their chosen profession. That is a different category of harm entirely. Number 4, Steve Williams, the caddy who crossed the line in Shanghai. Steve Williams carried the bag for Tiger Woods for 13 years. He was on the bag for 13 major championship victories. The relationship was built on deep trust until everything fell apart. In summer 2011, Tiger fired Williams. The reasons were never fully explained. No clear conversation, no detailed justification. The bitterness was instant. Williams went to work for Adam Scott. When Scott won the WGC Bridgestone Invitational at Firestone, Williams went on television and declared it the best win of my life. 13 major championships with Tiger, victories at Augusta, St. Andrews, Pebble Beach, and Williams said a regular tour event was better than all of them. That comment was a deliberate slap in the face to Tiger. In November 2011, the Caddies held their annual awards dinner in Shanghai. These dinners happen off-camera, private. Williams was given a mock award for Best TV Interview. When he accepted it, he made an explicitly racist remark about Tiger. He used a slur. The room went silent. One caddy described it like this: "Never have you been in a room and seen so many jaws drop at the same time." Williams had a reputation for being blunt, but this crossed a line. This was racist, and everyone knew it. A European Tour official standing nearby reportedly expressed relief that Williams did not work on their tour. The comment leaked to the British press. Within hours, the scandal went global. The next morning, Williams issued a written apology. He said he now realized how his comments could be construed as racist. He assured everyone that was not his intent. He apologized to Tiger and anyone else he offended. But the damage was done. Adam Scott faced criticism for not firing Williams immediately. Journalists called Williams a vicious bigot. They questioned why Scott only expressed regret that the comments became public, instead of condemning the words themselves. Tiger eventually accepted the apology. He said it was wrong, but he believed Williams was not a racist. Still, the incident permanently stained Williams' legacy. It showed that even in private spaces, racial hostility was real and bitter. Number 3, Kelly Tilman, the broadcaster who said it live on air. January 2008, Golf Channel broadcast, Mercedes-Benz Championship. Kelly Tilman was anchoring with analyst Nick Faldo. They were discussing Tiger Woods and how completely dominant he had become in professional golf. Faldo joked that younger players trying to challenge Tiger should gong him. It was meant to be playful banter. Tilman responded without hesitation: "Lynch him in a back alley." The reaction was immediate and fierce. Lynching is not just a word. It is not casual slang. It carries the unbearable weight of racial terror and violence. For generations, Black Americans were murdered by white mobs, hanged from trees, burned alive, tortured in public spectacles designed to instill absolute fear in entire communities. It was extrajudicial murder, used as a tool of white supremacy and racial control. And Kelly Tilman casually suggested it on live national television as a joke about the most famous Black golfer in history. The carelessness was staggering. The Golf Channel initially resisted taking disciplinary action against Tilman. Network executives downplayed the comment. They tried to frame it as an innocent mistake, an unfortunate choice of words. But public outrage grew rapidly. Civil rights leader Al Sharpton mobilized pressure. He called for accountability. He demanded the network take the comment seriously. Faced with mounting criticism, the Golf Channel finally reversed course. Tilman was suspended for 2 weeks. Not fired, suspended. 2 weeks away from the microphone for invoking lynching on live television. Tiger Woods' representatives issued a public statement attempting to defuse the situation. They called the comment unintentional. They indicated that Tiger and his team considered the matter closed. But that response missed the deeper point. The incident exposed something dangerous about how easily violent, racially charged language could slip into mainstream sports broadcasting. Tilman was not some fringe commentator or shock jock. She was a respected professional. She was positioned as a mainstream observer and ally of the sport. And yet, she used that language without thinking twice about the historical trauma it invoked. The casual nature of it was the real problem. It revealed how normalized that kind of violent rhetoric had become in certain broadcasting circles. How comfortable someone could feel making a lynching joke on air about a black athlete. Number 2, Fuzzy Zoeller, the joke that killed a legacy. April 1997, Tiger Woods wins the Masters. It was historic, a record-breaking performance, the first black golfer to win at Augusta. But before anyone could celebrate properly, Fuzzy Zoeller appeared on national television and overshadowed the entire moment. Zoeller was a 2-time major champion, asked about the Champions Dinner that Tiger would host the following year. Every Masters winner chooses the menu. Zoeller decided to make a joke. That little boy is driving well and putting well, so when he gets in here, pat him on the back, say congratulations, and tell him not to serve fried chicken next year. Or collard greens, or whatever the hell they serve. The words drew on derogatory stereotypes tied to slavery and Jim Crow. Fried chicken and collard greens had been used for generations to mock black Americans. Everyone watching knew what those references meant, and Zoeller said it anyway. The backlash was instant. Kmart dropped him as a sponsor. His reputation was destroyed permanently. Casey Kerr was Zeller's caddy that week. He witnessed the fallout. When the players returned to Augusta the next year, Kerr described a tiny bit of tension during practice rounds. Players were strained. Conversations were minimal. Then something happened on the par 3 6th tee. All 3 players hit their tee shots close. As they walked off, Tiger said, "Let's all walk off the greens with 2s." Kerr called it a world-class gesture. The tension broke. Everyone laughed. But Kerr saw what the backlash did to Zoeller over the years. He described it as a wound that would never heal. Zoeller had a reputation as a jokester, but this joke cost him everything. Kerr did not condone the comments, but he mourned the severity. The damage was permanent, and it taught golf a lesson, or so everyone thought. Number 1, Sergio Garcia, the man who proved nothing was learned. May 2013, European Tour Awards dinner in London. Sergio Garcia was on stage for a Q&A session. Someone asked if he would invite Tiger Woods to dinner during the upcoming US Open. The question was deliberately provocative. Garcia and Tiger had a long, publicly hostile rivalry. The tension escalated earlier that month at the Players' Championship on May 11th. Garcia was playing the par 5 second hole when the gallery erupted in cheers. Tiger had pulled a 5-wood from his bag in the nearby trees. Garcia was disrupted mid-swing. He was furious. The feud became front-page news. The animosity was personal and public. So when the dinner question came, Garcia went for the joke. "We will have him round. We will serve fried chicken." The room fell silent. It was the precise same racial stereotype that destroyed Fuzzy Zoeller 16 years earlier. The exact same dietary mockery rooted in derogatory stereotypes. The caddy and locker room communities were rattled. This confirmed that the racial hostility between Garcia and Woods was not just competitive fire. It was personal and racially charged. Tiger Woods responded publicly. He said the comment was not silly. It was wrong, hurtful, and clearly inappropriate. He added that he was confident there was real regret that the remark was made. Garcia was forced to issue multiple public apologies. His professional standing was at risk. Corporate sponsors were watching. He scrambled to contain the damage. What makes Garcia number 1 is the timing and context. This happened in 2013, 16 years after Zoeller. The lesson had been taught. The consequences demonstrated. Zoeller lost his career over those words, and Garcia said it anyway. That reveals something deeper. It shows that even after decades of progress, even after public scandals and ruined careers, the underlying prejudice was still there, still active, still ready to surface the moment emotions ran high. So who is the biggest racist in golf? The answer depends on what you value. If you mean who caused the most long-term systemic harm, it is the place that wrote racism into the rules. Clifford Roberts and Augusta National built a system that excluded an entire generation of black golfers from competing. That is structural damage. That is generational theft of opportunity. They stood on the 6th tee when Tiger broke the tension with grace. Their testimony matters because they were there in the rooms where it happened, on the courses where policies were enforced, and at the dinners where racism was spoken out loud. But here is the hope. Progress is real, even when painfully slow. Tiger Woods breaking barriers at Augusta in 1997 mattered. Lee Elder receiving his invitation in 1975 mattered. Lee Trevino boycotting the Masters mattered. Every time someone stood up and said, "This is not acceptable," it moved the needle, slowly, with setbacks, but it moved. Golf still has work to do. The sport is not fixed, but it is better than it was, and it will keep getting better as long as people refuse to stay silent when racism surfaces. If this story made you think, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep dives into the stories golf does not want told. Drop a comment with your thoughts, and do not forget to give this video some hype one more time using the hype feature. Your support makes a difference in bringing these stories to light. Thanks for watching. This is Golf Relived.